What's up, everybody? How y'all doing today? So, just to talk more, about those videos again. Even Daniel and Isaiah. Those are the apocalypses again. That looking at the end of days is these events that happen every now and then. But the end is really in Daniel. Even after Revelation, that the Daniel events, those are just a setup for even future events. It's like an Avengers movie. You get this certain event happening, and you get it set up for another event. So these things have happened before, but they just have to happen again. So you looked at Judah as sort of the chosen tribe. You looked at Jacob as the chosen being. He's the chosen person. Really, his whole lineage. Then leading up to the tribes, you have many. You have 12 tribes. Um, so that's going to be very important. So we're going to look at who's a part of those tribes, who's part of Jacob. They're going to be essential to the story. They're what's called the elect. So you're going to look at the book of Revelations. It's sort of like that book was even made in an effort to deceive the elect because Lucifer had tried his best, or should I say, his real name is Hallel. Yeah, his father named him Hallel. So he had really tried to take over the world, but he failed. He was cut down to the ground. He weakened the nations. He deceived pretty much everybody. Walk, not the elect, because the elect know exactly where Lucifer is. But Hallel, because it's gonna be just a war again between Michael and Lucifer and his angels. I mean, basically, those are what you're gonna have. You're gonna have the dragon. You're gonna have all these things. So, not everything is as it seems because things have been rewritten, switched around because people actually tried to think they could write their way into heaven because they actually worship Lucifer. I mean, no, no, no. I'm trying to explain that some of these people actually thought they could get away with it. They thought they could trick the people who were chosen and enslave them, things like that. But when all these events hit, Jacob is going to be ready, uh, even to rescue the prey, as you saw in the beginning of really of Isaiah, because of these events with these kings. I mean, basically, all the human kings might just off each other, but even the spiritual kings are gonna fight. But Michael is the goal. He's trying to get him because he's probably the best leader for humankind. Just to transmit to the crowns. The crowns, that's where Michael gets most of the messages to the crown. That's where he speaks to the kings. But sometimes he just leaves you alone. That's the fear of the Lord, really. Because you're gonna look behind your back and be like, "Where's Michael, man?" I'm looking behind my back. You know what I'm saying? I know some of you are called Michael. You're excited, but this archangel is called the archangel. He's the archangel. So again, that's why we're not gonna even let a human, guard the gate. I mean, it's basically he's not gonna be in your life all the time, but when he comes, that's the fear of the Lord. When you have that in the crown, that's the fear of the Lord. So again, a lot of the stuff you see in the Bible again aren't necessarily character states of the same God. It's sort of like a feud between three gods for at least the tribe of Judah. First, you have Yahweh. Yahweh is just called Jah. People used to put in one in Jabulam, but that was secretly, I think, Belial. So these are not really one God. It was the separation of what you would get when you have left and right hand powers controlling different parts of the tribe. You have okay, so Jah Bulan is the Jah, stands for Yahweh. That's the God of Israel, and then the Canaanite God is the bull. He's well, not necessarily uh the original L, but he's more like the ball. He's more like Ba than the L, of course. L is not Saturn. People think that, but no. Saturn is sort of another deity in there. I mean, again, we're looking at things are interchangeable, but then some things are not. Some people are the beings are not the same. They're just completely different beings. We paid attention. So we have Israel and Canaanites. So Israel again, Yahweh. Canaanites, we have Baal. He also went by Lord, but the thing is, he took even those names out. This isn't even a characteristic of the same, again, deity. It's three different ones. And then the last one is On. So whenever you see the word On or Zion, it means the sun. So it's Ra. Ra is, again, he's normally the sun, but when the holier sun, Yahweh is definitely, we would call him a traditional holier sun because it's about the energies that the sun gives out. Um, so Yahweh is very, very important to the Israelite people because he always frees them in times of trouble. Okay, Ra, he's always necessary. I mean, probably much 90% the sun is Ra. I'm not gonna lie, the sun is. You see the black sun. If you're the stargazer, I mean, if you're the sun gaze, look at the sun for like. You could look at the sun for like 40 seconds in a row. I mean, 30 seconds. You probably see the sun gets black. I wouldn't recommend it, of course, but certain people are able to sun gaze depending on, you know, their eyes. But you can wear some shades. But again, the black sun, we call him Osiris. But those were the deities again. But these were really just human beings. Osiris, Horus. I mean, these were human beings that might have deified their own spirits again. The Jupiter and Saturn and the sun, basically. That's how people did it. And people used to suffer themselves. I do believe that a lot of these people, like the Odin guy, he hung himself for like 9 days in a row with a spear stabbed in his gut. I don't really know, but these legends again have some truth to them because people do crazy stuff. They push themselves to the limit. They endure a lot of suffering to get these spiritual power. But again, it's not the recommendation, but it's just to say that there's been a lot when we're talking about the saints and we're talking about the Ancient of Days. The Ancient of Days is, he's basically when we talk about the architect, he's basically similar to Lucifer. But I don't want to say he's per se what he was. But if you look at the benevolent powers, you look at what the saints are. The whole thing is really just to get Michael in a good position because the left hand should know what the right hand is doing. And literally, the right hand has to go, we have to go under the surface. We have to do all kinds of things, The right hand has to do a lot. And Michael is at the head, of course. That's what makes him different. He uses both the left and the right. He can cause good and cause evil. That's the thing when you have that force. However, if Lucifer's in control, he just builds you up to tear you down, basically. Those are the types of things, again, with his vanity. But Michael he'll try to encourage you, build you up. Then he'll leave, and he'll come back, you acting up, he'll cut you down to the ground. So it's just the subconscious crown that a king has. Of course, we've been talking about this for weeks now. Michael versus Lucifer was the biggest fight, or Michael Hallel. Basically, those were the fights that really has been changed for the people of Israel. There was a king called Josiah. He was the greatest, probably one of the greatest kings in Israel's history, through the tribe of Judah. He's basically the reason why we have everything that we have today. He cut off all the idols, but in Egypt. But it was more so he had exalted. Once he had found the word of God, he had exalted the law, or more so, he put it at the forefront. He's the reason why we really have the Bible as we do today. But again, not just to make some accusation, I rebuke the devil. I rebuke him. But more so, it was about there had already been deception that has gone on. And again, if you're a part of the elect, you'll know what I'm talking about. So again, with this Jebulon, this with the three gods, basically the tribe of Judah has either been Egypt, Canaan, or Israel itself. So those three regions, land regions, those three leaders, those three, we're looking at Yahweh, Baal, and Ra. Those three are like, they were over Judah for a while. So depending on who's over it, because Josiah, again, one of the greatest kings, but was the last real king of Judah. He was really defeated, taken out by a pharaoh from Egypt. So those types of feuds going on in that region for the control, basically, of Israel. It's also a spiritual connotation as well, because imagine you had the Canaanite, Egyptian, and the Israelite in your bloodline. So basically, those were the three that you would have who connected to your sort of tribes, if you will. So you're looking now at Ham and Shem, sort of how that connects. Japheth is more of the Eastern European type stuff, you know what I'm saying, even into Asia, I believe. But those are the real divisions that we have today. Again, you can't really force the spiritual systems because you have a certain angel that's probably guarding your tribe. You know, it's probably standing over your head with it. They all have different standards, of course. One thing I will say about Israel, we're the underdogs. Israel are always the underdogs to the story, but we have the strongest God. He basically waits to see if we're gonna be loyal because we have the strongest God in Israel. I'm not even gonna lie, we do have the strongest God. But the point is, he wants us sort of to leave sort of the idolatry mentality, even in ourselves. But as hard as that can be, you know, Josiah again did it to perfection, and even still, their kingdom fell because I mean you couldn't control all the people, and I think with the spirits, you look at the Lamb, you look at what Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach, that what he had to do, that made it available for us to get this crown easier. The kingship is much easier to get, at least through the blood of the Lamb. So it was all connected. It was all to get Michael again to lead at the head, because it was what if we could destroy ourselves, you know, if we were following certain laws, the gods would have destroyed us. I mean, those were the two things we had to worry about. Were we going to destroy ourselves, but the God's going to destroy us? So that's the reason why I speak like I do, because it's not that the gods hate us. It's just that they'll have a different intention. And some of the things that the gods we worshipped, they never really cared. Some of them didn't care. Some of them were blind. Some of them had eyes. Some of them had eyes to see. They saw too much. They saw too much. I mean, if you're looking up there, you're seeing all the stuff going down here. You're like, oh, I see a lot. Like, a lot of things are going on. A lot of things wrong. So what am I to do? Some will come down here in a physical form, a lowered form, or even a Baal form. I mean, it's the physical manifestation of a God in a body. But anyways, the coming of the Lord, you have to look at the importance of it, even through the womb. I mean, there's a lot of the symbols like Solomon. I mean, basically, there's a lot of things that I can't necessarily teach you, but I'll try, because people using this stuff at will, thinking they're worshiping Lucifer, but in ideology, like whatever architect you think created the physical world, and you say, you know, he was hallelujah. No, I mean, let's be real. The Most High God is the creator of the earth. He's just taking the credit. Lucifer just taking the credit for what the Most High has actually done. That's what we're trying to say. The Elohim had created the world, but Lucifer took the credit for all of it. For some reason, under different guises, under different names. But Jacob, again, is going to have a power when this thing hits. I mean, I say this thing, I mean, it's the flood. I mean, it's the fire, the flood, it's one and the same. We're looking now with the transformation, the restoration for the birthright. I mean, getting double the portion. That's what the birthright means, double of the portion. So double the strength, double the speed, double the power. But it's to protect. When I say the prayer, I mean the night when it falls. I mean, it's gonna come hard for a Gentile. In terms of Isaiah, the Gentiles are, I mean, probably they need to befriend a lot of the Israelite people. So whatever you think about in the world today, yeah, look, I use flattery too. I'm probably one of those kings in the end, because look, all the kings will probably take each other out, whatever it is. But the goal is for Michael again, is the mind, sort of that mind is the mind of the Spirit of the Lord, or even the spirit of the fear of the Lord, which is definitely going to keep you sound, some of you, because the spirit of the fear of the Lord is something else. It's something else. So again, this is not even a trial by fire. It's a good adjustment for some of you. Again, if you're a Gentile, you won't experience the fullness of this. But I'm saying if you're from the tribe of Judah, most of you who had ancestors who were shipped here, 400 years. I mean, that slavery. I mean, things are going to start to shift in your life because you really are from the tribe of Judah, and we'll keep it as long as we can. But of course, you can never really make it perfect or whatnot. So, I mean, it will be what it is, but God has a plan for your life, and it's gonna work out for your good. Basically, what the head does, the sun is basically the brain of the solar system. I want to tell you that, and with the body, the hands, the right hand, the left hand, Jupiter, Saturn. I mean, basically, they can decide. You're not following the law. You might want to take him out right now. So the left hand is very quick to punish. We're looking at why Jesus said, "Father, why have you forsaken me?" Is because, I mean, he also even said, "My power, my power." I mean, basically, it was a part of him, and he forsaked himself. Did he realize how bad it was gonna be? I mean, a little, but on that cross again, with that power, it completely left him the power. So, the left hand is definitely a little. You can't really trust the left hand, but I will say, most of you will have a left hand. Not that you can, again, because it could turn its way back on you because you won't be able to follow the law as perfect as that man did, and yet the left hand will punish you for being even a good person or showing too much of your right hand. That's why, again, I'm a little reluctant to bless all of you today because the left hand is it is Lucifer said, not that I fear them, but idea is now is I gotta be around you, teach you how to be these kings, these leaders, because that's what even the priesthood and the kingship is about. So, all right, everybody. The whole point is that the sons of God are enough to defeat the sons of Hallel or whatever, because it was all about who rode the crown. If Lucifer rules your crown, if you get the power, you'll be another Lucifer. You'll be violent, you'll be tyrant, you won't let people free. But if you be Michael, again, you'll be fighting for the kingdom of God. So that's what the powers are about. So, again, stay tuned. Peace.